this is part of. And I forgot to mention that there's no sign here, and it should be a sign. This is Lee Greenwood Way. And I don't know, that's what it's listed as. All right, this is All Things 80's with Garrett, and Garrett's. I'm in Dollywood, Tennessee. This is Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and I'm gonna do a video on my first time I was here, when I saw Lee Greenwood perform back in like probably 87, 88, somewhere around there. Then I went to the Dixie Stampede, which is now just a Stampede, and we'll maybe go over and take a look at where Lee Greenwood's theater was in the 90s, and maybe see Bonnie, Lou, and Buster had a show. They're the OGs of entertainment here in Pigeon Forge. So come enjoy the ride with me. So let's go back in time here. I was inspired by my friend Mr. Thrasher. He was here in Pigeon Forge maybe just a few weeks ago, and I usually don't do vlogs. It's not my thing, but today I just kind of like want to go back in time a little bit to when, like I said over there a minute ago, when I came to Dollywood for the first time, and back to the 80s, and I was a teenager, and just to see things and show you a few things that I remember. And one of the cool things I got to see is Lee Greenwood perform God Bless the USA over here, and I'll go show you the theater. But it gave me chills then. The song still gives me chills now. But then he opened up his own theater in Sevierville, and we'll go there a little bit later, and I'll show you that. But it's like a little glimpse of going back in time. And one of the cool things is too, they still have, so the rapids were kind of original. The train, there's not a lot. The Dolly's house, I'm gonna show you all those things. But if you remember if you were here, you remember Lee Greenwood being at Dollywood performing God Bless the USA back in the late 80s, comment below, love to hear. And then always subscribe, hit the like button. I appreciate it, appreciate your support. But let's go around and look around Dollywood for a little bit. This is the location of where I saw Lee Greenwood sing God Bless the USA right here in this theater area. It was outside. I do remember that. This is a replica of Dolly's Tennessee Mountain home. This has been here since the beginning of the park, when she opened it back in 1986. Family. We got the Dolly Parton experience here now. Last year, when I was here, there was her tour bus was here, and I will show you footage of when I got on the tour bus. This is a nice tribute, obviously, to Dolly and what she's done here. But this is also where the location of the original entrance was, like right behind here. The new entrance is over that way to my right, but the original entrance was like basically right over here behind this Dolly, in this area. So they still have the bus, it's just on the other side of the Dolly Parton experience. So I just bought myself a t-shirt, a Dolly t-shirt. It's about time I have one. It's been a long time. I've been a fan of Dolly for years, and so I think it's time that I got me one. I have one, and so I'm gonna go put it on. All right, so I changed shirts, got it on, and this is kind of like, this is my first Dolly shirt. This is the Dolly I grew up on. This is the Dolly that my granny, my mom's grandma, had these Dolly Parton records, and this is the style right here. So it's only fitting that I have one. It's about time I have one after all these years. And speaking of my mom is from Tennessee, and her maiden name is Watson. And there is Watson Motor Company here. Just the ride attraction right here in Dollywood. But I grew up coming to Tennessee. This is where my grandparents lived. It's where Santa Claus came for me. So when I was a kid, Santa Claus would come to Chattanooga, Tennessee, not to North Carolina where I grew up, but right here in Tennessee. My parents actually honeymooned in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and so we would come to Pigeon Forge a lot. So this is kind of going back in time here to give you some background on Pigeon Forge, Sevierville, Gatlinburg, all these places. And you gotta stop at the old mill and get some hot, fresh cinnamon bread made daily. This stuff is absolutely delicious. Just $12.99. Well, it's starting to rain, but before I leave, one thing that changed here at Dollywood is that they added more rides, and it's now like Thunderhead and the Eagle, great rides here at Dollywood. But one thing that old habits die hard. But I'm glad that Dolly has kept this. This is nice. This is a nice touch. A little bit back to simpler times. Not just in the Appalachian type feel, old school church, but the fact that back to the 80s when things were a little bit calmer, a little bit better. Let's go to the Stampede now. So we're at Dolly Stampede, formerly known as the Dixie Stampede. Opened on June 18th, 1988. This is the original location. This is where they still have performances. But I think I came here in 1989. I have a picture I'll show you. They have where the performers stand out like in front before you go in, you take your picture. And you can see I have my gold chain and my stonewashed jeans. So bear with me on that. But I'm going to show you a little bit of video on the inside from the show, and then we will go over to the former location of Lee Greenwood's theater. That's great.
And Dolly Stampede.
no sign here, and it should be a sign, but this little street right here next to the old theater, this is Lee Greenwood Way. And I don't know, that's what it's listed as. And no, there's nothing on this road to indicate that this is Lee Greenwood Way. All right, we made it to, this has got an address of Kodak, Tennessee, but we're right on the outskirts of Sevierville. And this is the former home of the Lee Greenwood Theater. Opened in April 1st, 1996, and is now a church, a New Hope Church. And this on a Sunday, and there are some people over this way, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time right here. Right a second, may drive around to the side and show you a few things. But this gives you an idea of the size of the parking lot. This had, I think, 1,780 seats inside on the theater side. The back side, I'll show you that as well. Beautiful shot of the Smokies behind the original sign. Right there of the theater. They're obviously not using it for the church, but it's gorgeous overlook over here. So this had 1,700, so it was supposed to be 1776. All for the birth of the nation, his whole God bless the USA. But it ended up being 1,780 of seats. This is a $10 million theater back in 1996. It opened. So this opened on April 1st, 1996. And that puts it about 9 years after I saw him perform at Dollywood. And he wanted to take a break from touring. He had got married again, had a young child, about 5 years of age. And he really wanted to set down some roots and start to perform again. So opening night, former President Bush, the first President Bush was here. A couple other celebrities were in attendance. But he was here for 5 years. So he was here, it's like 2001 is when this place closed. I think over here is where there was a restaurant that was built a little bit afterwards. There were big plans for an aquarium. There was going to be several other theaters built up here. There was going to be a hotel, but they had big plans. And at one point in time, I know they talked about this stretch being from over here on 40 all the way coming down to Pigeon Forge, just being lined up with entertainment. And it's kind of it's starting to happen. Last year they opened up Buc-ee's. Things are starting to pop up through here. So it's already gotten bigger. And so I remember this place being on the hill. I remember seeing it when it opens. 4th of July just passed recently. He's in a top 10 again on sales for God Bless the USA. It's pretty cool that the fact that that song came out so many years ago and it's still coming back up again. It still gives me, like I said earlier, it gives me chills just listening to it. It's just still, that has that kind of, as an American, it has that kind of feel for it. I don't really care if you're Republican, Democrat, or Independent, or whatever. It's like, it's a great song. It's great to be an American. Doesn't make a difference what your political ideology is. It's okay. It's still a great tune. So I hope you've enjoyed this video on Dollywood, on Dixie, the Stampede, on a little history of the Pigeon Forge, and coming up here and seeing the old Lee Greenwood Theater. And I'm glad to see that the building is being used for good purposes. Glad to see a church is here. That's awesome. Wish them the best of success. Maybe this continue to blossom and flourish up here. And maybe we'll see the dream come true of Lee Greenwood, talking about how this whole area was going to be filled with theaters from here all the way down to Pigeon Forge. Thanks for watching All Things 80's with Garrett. I'll see you on the next episode.